Coming to you live on a Sunday morning. It's been a long time since I came on here on a Sunday, but I wanted to get into some life talks, the simulation, some things have been happening, and just in general, like there's a story of my past where, again, we don't need more proof we live in a simulation, but I'm going to tell you how I see now what's happening in the world and how it feels like it applies to me, and I can speak to these things. But first, we're all the wide awake conscious beings who know we live in the Matrix. It's chilly willy out here in New Jersey, man. Y'all might got me for another month, maybe two on the East Coast. I don't know. I might have to pull back up to Texas or Cali. But anyways, first let me tell you this. In this Matrix, in this simulation, when you talk about human conditioning, when people get in stressful times or angry times, they fall back into their programming. It might be alcohol. It might be drugs. It might be people. But there's this group of spiritual people that fall back into their program of almost like somewhat of a hustler. Like everybody comes from a life. Everybody comes from something or some kind of a background that you experience things to let you know the pattern and programs of people. But people in the beginning of my journey, I'll just give you an example, were always telling me, Jonah, you need to protect yourself. You need to protect yourself. And I kept saying, like, dude, I have died like 5 times here, dog. Like, I'm not scared of death. I don't care. Like, none of this is real. And they're like, no, you need to protect your energy. You need to protect your energy. And I didn't understand in the beginning. You know, I've been on this journey 4 years, almost on the road for 4 years as of next month. I didn't understand what protect your energy meant. So I invited everybody in my space. Jesus walks. Jesus walks with the sinners and the saints. No judgment, because I'm you. Everybody's a mirror of you. Everybody's a version of you. So I know, like, people would see people around me, and I want to make something clear. Don't assume because I interview people on live or you see people in a video or whatever it is that I'm, 100%, I don't see maybe the archetype of particular people. I know people that come in my sphere don't have my best interests. That's I guess the point I'm trying to make. I accept everybody for who they are. And I see it as opportunities, as tests, right, from former life. Maybe they want to come clear karma with me. A lot of people come in my sphere because they think that you're going to snap your fingers and you're going to fix everything that's wrong with them. That's just not how this works. Matter of fact, I could tell you everything that's wrong with your life. I used to do that all the time. And you hurt feelings and you lose people. I'm like, dude, because we're all mirrors. We can all fix each other. We'd be the best life coaches in the world for other people. But when it came to applying it to our lives, we didn't have the discipline to follow through. So I let people in my sphere, and I know I've had federal agents, whatever, snitches, crooks. I've definitely had criminals around me. And I just accept them for who they are. It's using discernment. And even when we come together and do things like meditate and things like that, it's just to elevate our consciousness and at least know that there's a support group. I still can't quite give up on everybody is what I'm trying to say. But I want you to know that, yes, we all have to set boundaries and get stricter with who we allow into our space, especially at this timeline. The moth always attracts the flame, or the flame always attracts the moth, whatever you want to say. Just know that everybody is a version of you and meant to teach you something. But at some point you got to say, hey, dog, we don't do that anymore. You know, I told y'all I grew up around a harem of narcissists, and I want to get into a little bit more of my story because, one of the things that I truly believe, that I know that Yeshua said this for a reason, is the truth will set you free. And the one thing you've never heard me come on here and preach is perfection. Y'all know if my face is puffy, I probably ate that bad the day before, or I might have had a drink of wine or whatever it is. You've never heard me preach perfection like I'm some holier than thou person. I just understand how things work in the simulation. And I know that a lot of times the energy around me, it drags down my frequency. So sometimes I look like shit. It is what it is. I recognize that. I don't come on here, try to make perfect videos and say everything. There's another bee. Okay, buddy. He's clearing frequency. Anyways, getting back to the younger days. Y'all know you've heard me tell this story before, that I was a millionaire at the age of 22, that I turned $600 into $1 million in cash. What a lot of people don't know or never really ask me is, how did I do it? So the shorter version I'm going to tell of this is, my stepfather was from Austria, was from Vienna, and he used to own underground casinos. Okay. He was actually, if you want to be real about it, he was like an entrepreneur, but he was in some dark business. He comes over to the United States, marries my mom in 1997. He's like, hey, I didn't know that gambling was semi-legal in Texas at the time, which we had slot machines called 8-liners that are like, they basically fall under this Chuck E. Cheese law. And when people would come win money, you paid them out in gift certificates like Walmart, Target, things like that. So I ended up branching off. I had my first business my first partnership was called Lucky Star. Think about that. Always channeling. And my first business was called 888. You can't make it up. When I was 22. Go on this epic run and everything. And then, again, become a millionaire. And then I get busted. And 4 news stations came. The SWAT team came. I'm talking about, it was like... I don't know what they thought we were doing. Keep in mind, when you talk about gambling, and because the state of Texas, but one part I missed out, the state of Texas ruled that gift certificates were the same as cash, so they made them illegal. So I, in turn, contributed money to a charity, a lupus foundation, basically structured it like bingo, which I wasn't the first place to do it, but I was the first place to like blow it up right there. So they come and bust me, okay? And I'm on 4 news stations, dog. I'm on Telemundo. And I got people calling me like, oh, now, again, you got little old women that like the bingo players that are like 80 years old. That's my customers. We're not in there trafficking. We're not in there selling drugs. It's literally little old ladies. And it's like they wanted to flex on me. And then, throw all these things at you. And then you're on the news. Oh, my God. Game room owner gets busted. People thought I got life in prison. My guy, it was a Class C misdemeanor. I paid a $500 ticket. Like, I actually beat the case because it got all the machines back, if you want to know the truth. But that's a whole nother story for another time. But I got busted by a guy named Mo Ibrahim, who was the district attorney of Galveston County at that time. Now, why I'm bringing that name up is because I told y'all I've been up and down in life. I've been rich and poor. I've been all over, traveled the world, whatever. Later on, in my early 30s, I become homeless, right? Like, everybody in my life was using me. One thing about it is, when you have money, you have unlimited friends. People are just, they want your energy, really, looking back. But everybody in my life was using me. So I felt like subconsciously I wanted to go broke because I got tired of being a dollar sign to everybody. It was just old. And I attracted so many narcissists. When you attract people in life, I know now that it mirrors a lot of you, but I understand why I put my feet in the fire of that particular world, almost like the underworld, because I wasn't making people's life better. I mean, come on, man. I'm telling you this story not because it's like something I'm proud of. I'm telling you this story to know that we all came from a past and we all wrote the script to our life as a part of this program. So moving forward, opened some more business. I was homeless for 3 years, couch surfing. And one day I woke up and I said, I want everything back. I want my life back. I want the paper back. I want my gal back. In 3 months, I got it back just like that. I was making $20,000 a week. 2015, I get busted again. Guess by who? From 15 years prior, Mo Ibrahim. He had gone from the district attorney of Galveston County to now he was a defense attorney. And I'm sorry, he didn't bust me. I'm sorry. The county busted me. He became a defense attorney. And then I sought counsel from him because, again, he was on the other side already. All these guys know each other. This is how I kind of know the inner workings of law enforcement. It's a club. By now, you know that. So I go into Mo Ibrahim's office and he tells me, he said, hey, man, you want to open as many game rooms as you want? You want to open these underground casinos? You want to open even the sexually oriented businesses? You want to open whatever you want? He said, you'll never get busted. All you got to do is give us people. So this dude now goes from being, again, the district attorney busting me to now a defense attorney in cahoots with the county saying, hey, dog, you could be a snitch. You can make as much money as you want. You just got to turn it, give us people, basically. Like, it's like the system wanted me to be the devil, or the system wanted me to be some sort of a dark entity. And I was like, I thought about it. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't just come out and say, nah, I'm not going to do that. I thought about it and I was like, nah, I don't want to be a snitch. That's not the person I am. So that timeline passes and you go up and down. With the sports betting thing, this thing that just happened in the media where they're talking about illegal gambling and the players were betting on games. I also had high stakes poker games. Okay. I was partners in one of the biggest games in the United States. One of my partners was a very well-known person. I don't need to say his name. It's not even necessary. But he told me, as a professional athlete and as somebody who was the all-time leading scorer at a major university, he was a bookie. Now think about this. A bookie is literally I'm like, hold on. So you're like this high level person that everybody knows, and you're taking bets on the games that you're playing in. So that's when I started to realize sports is fake, or that it's at least scripted. Yes, you have real individuals and you have awesome athletes, and sports are a great way for people to come together and, work together, different colors, blah, 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 everything that you're taught when you're younger. But it's rigged. And Tim Donaghy, who fixes matches, right? This is a referee that got busted betting on games and blowing whistles, because in the NBA, the easiest thing to win at sports betting is the totals, is something called the over. They can just keep blowing the whistle and they can keep scoring with no time on the clock, right? Tim Donaghy, at the time, he had already did his prison sentence. He's in Houston, and now he's trying to open a clinic for like rehab for people who were in it. But they've been telling us forever, when you reach a certain level, like if they can rig sports, by the way, referees and coaches betting on games and pulling out players and manipulating props, okay? If they can rig poker games, I got offered 15 years ago, I got offered somebody to wear the phony contacts where you can see other people's cards. He wanted to rig our poker game. And I'm like, dude, like people will reveal themselves to you throughout this entire journey. It's almost like, you ever felt like the devil was following you your whole life? You ever felt like the devil felt very comfortable with you? The devil felt very comfortable with me. They're like, oh, Jonah, I know you're one of us. Let me just tempt you. And I'm not saying I was always perfect. You ain't never heard me say that. I told you that. But it's almost like this script and this timeline and this thing that you showed yourself. You created a perfect program to try to fix broken people. How many of y'all have had criminal friends in your life that you didn't judge, that they might have done things to other people or whatever it was, but you're like, I'm going to give you a chance. People were always confessing their sins to us too. They would tell us you'd say hi to them and they tell you everything that they ever did wrong. So I'm basically telling you all of this today about the simulation proved itself. If they can rig sports, you know that they can rig elections. I mean, this whole reality is scripted. Everything connects from the time you were born to the time you die. It's just one of those things, and you're an angel, my guy. If you're on this live and you're seeing this and you felt like you always got the short end of the stick in life, and don't get me wrong, a lot of the things happen to us were self-inflicted. Come on, man. At some point, you got to stop blaming other people for the things that have happened to us. At some point, we have to take ownership. But you became a master of energy and you forgave the unforgivable. That's the real secret here. It's blocking out those energetic punches and you become this master of a reality. It's just a beautiful timeline when you get to this position. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk to you about really quick was this Elon Musk and Joe Rogan podcast. Now, this comes back to what I said in the beginning of here is I have people on live sometimes. Do you think I agree with everybody with everything? Probably not, right? Do you think I don't know the answers to question when I ask them? You know, I try to give everybody, I try to have every type of archetype on here. I want to hear everybody's story because everybody has some form or way that they awakened, and you might resonate with that person like, okay, I can see myself in that person. So Joe Rogan and Elon Musk have this matter-of-fact conversation about AI and the simulation. And they know, remember, you get a watered-down conversation when you come on one of these things, and people don't always say the things that they really, really want to say. Like, you know the truth in your heart, but you can't really say it because you're alienating the majority of the population because most people just don't get it. Let's be honest. I always say this. We're 6 years now, going into 6 years of the greatest mass awakening in world history, and most people just really don't get it yet. There's a reason for that. We all know that. Not everybody's meant to awaken. Not everybody's meant to go on this path or this journey. And as just a little quick tip, you got to stop judging people. If you're still judging people for where they're at, hey man, if people don't match your frequency, cool, but you ain't got to talk about them behind their back. You don't have to gossip. That's very witchy, a spell casting type of energy. So again, finishing up on this interview, the conversation that these two would have in real life would be very different about the simulation and how the inner workings of it. Because even Elon Musk kept stopping himself. He kept stopping himself. The programmer runs the simulation. This is a computer simulated reality. Everything you see here, I've talked about this before, is binary code. The 0 being the feminine energy, the 1 being the masculine energy. Everything connects. Every plant, everything is a number sequence. Every person you date, every person you don't date, every decision you make that's basically what the Akashic records. It's the records of all the programming here. So you have a programmer that sits on top, right? Because there's multiple simulations ran. Remember, there are infinite versions of you, not just one. And the greatest thing I always tell people is when you die, you don't die. That's the best news I can give you. You're probably going to reincarnate as the person you bullied, but that's a topic for another day. But again, at the highest levels, even the elites know that we are the aliens. Do you understand that? Anybody who knows me or has been following my journey, if you know me in real life, do you think I would come this far on a social media talking about the simulation, talking about star seeds? Do you think the people who know me can really answer this question? We quit many things in life. Like, especially things that are hard, like getting people to believe in God again and waking up the world. Do you think that's an easy task? I thought it was going to be an easy task. One thing that my journey should prove to people who were somewhat non-believers is that God is real. I told you I would not be able to have made it this long if there wasn't a higher force or higher protection at play. We all have that same protection. This program, it can be so frustrating at times, but it can also be the most beautiful experience of your life when you let go and you surrender. And it's coming. I told you, in the next 3 months, the only thing people are going to talk about is the simulation. The only thing people are going to talk about is that this reality is not real. And I know we talk about it. It's no big deal. You try to enhance the experience. You're like, okay, Jonah, we get it. What do we do now? It's always been about finding the people that you came to Earth with, because you didn't come here alone. You did not come here alone. I know you don't think that this was a singular project. Like they try to sell you on spirituality and these gurus, which I have another opinion about that. They try to sell you on these things of becoming your higher self. Yeah, that's the base mission. But the bigger mission is, if you felt like you came to change the world, if you felt like you came to save the children, if you felt like tell us more about simulation. Okay, I'll tell you more about the simulation. If you felt like you came for a bigger mission that was beyond you, most people I meet just want the best life for themselves. They don't care about immigrants. They don't care. They'll preach like Christian principles, but stop it. Come on, man. They're very much hypocrites. This is what I find about religious people and spiritual people. They don't really practice what they preach. And again, nobody is perfect. But getting back to the simulation really quick. In this simulation, one of the biggest lessons for me was in time travel, because who wouldn't want to go time travel? And I kept seeing this Back to the Future, which I went to go watch yesterday. It's the 40-year release in theaters, 1985. I'm going to do a breakdown on this movie because it is just loaded with clues. But think about your mom. Think about your dad. How many times have you met? And this is what travel has taught me in this simulation, because a lot of people sit behind a desk and they'll say, yeah, well, it's a holographic projection, or yeah, it's this, or yeah, this proves it. My proof has been living the experience and traveling to 34 countries and 40 states and meeting people just like me. I've met my mom over and over again. I've met my dad over again that I've never met before in life. I've met my children. I've met people that were cookie cutter copies of people that have been in my life my entire life. And it's almost like you start the movie when you watch those movies that they tell you the ending starts at the beginning, and then you walk back and you see how the character arc was made. I've gotten to see every person in my life's story arc and why they became the way they did through other avatars. It could have been male, it could have been female, it could have been a different race, could have been a different religion. But time travel exists in that way, in that everything is happening at the exact same time. So I'm getting to now, when you think of for the people who don't talk to their mom anymore or dad, you now get to see a younger version of them and heal a timeline through this avatar without having to actually go back to the base avatar that you came through with that soul contract. I know that's maybe a strange way of looking at it, but you have all these archetypes in your life, and you can really go back to your childhood and think about those friendships and the best friends you ever had. Those friends were the people that you just keep going through the group in the rotation of life with. Think about that. You keep rotating life with the same group of friends from your childhood, and you get to it, and they just come in different avatars. It's almost like you have this superhero crew of people, because you came in a pod. You did not come here alone. That's the biggest thing that I can tell you about the simulation. It is computer manufactured. The Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, runs it. Because most people were unaware that most people knew that it was a matrix. Like, you can go back to Buddhism a few thousand years. They know that this wasn't real, and you reach nirvana, or you reach enlightenment, or Jesus taught ascension. It's all the same thing. Everybody is you on another timeline. Nothing is real. Energy, frequency, vibration. You don't think that they had NPCs 5,000 years ago? So when I say these things, even about the CIA, this is why I say there's nothing to fear, because the earth is a movie set. Huh? Do I ever think about what might be outside the simulation? Of course. That's what we're here for. Listen, this is the last message that I want to give you on here. For those of you who feel like you were chosen for a specific mission, or that you broke the chains, huh? You feel it's giving too much credit to the CIA? Let me get to that really quick. You have to give an infrastructure to our reality. I'm glad you brought that up. You have to give an infrastructure to our reality. I want you to go back to the time you were a child. How many of y'all were in the gifted and talented program in elementary school? Were you in a special classroom? Okay. You can even move further in life. Do you know that you have been watched over your entire life? It started off when you got baptized as a child, and they put a crucifix on your third eye, and they put you to sleep when you were a baby. Okay? Let's just start right there. But on the highest timeline, you put that spell on you. Moving forward, you go through life. We were all creatures of habit. We all watched DuckTales. I don't know. What are the other movies? Goonies. Back to the Future, the Last Dragon. We all played the same video games. Nintendo, Contra, Metroid, We all Paperboy. We played all the same things, Mario Brothers, over and over and over again. We were addicted to video games. We were addicted to learning. We were sponges of information, and that mission was put in there. The Pleiadians started showing up in 1980, or started letting themselves be known, because we've been here and throughout the entire existence. So the government had to create really, elaborate ways to smoke out the system on who are the gifted people here, because they don't know, just like we don't know who. Like, you can tell, like, kind of who comes from a broken family and who succeeds. People can see your light before you even can see your light. But your teacher in your classroom could have been a Central Intelligence Agency officer. You have been watched over and guarded your entire life. That's big facts. A lot of these businesses you see set up in the world. Yesterday I'm in Times Square. No, you don't think the feds run everything? Just because you see a bus driver, you don't think that they could be a federal agent? Just because you see somebody picking up trash, you're always watched and monitored, my guy. There's like, the CIA holds the infrastructure in, and they use AI to listen to everything we say. It's not to promote fear, by the way, because I've said this 1,000 times. On the highest timeline, you are the creator, but you have to have some sort of an infrastructure here, right? So, and I should have finished the last statement first, but I wanted to bring that up because every single part of this whole reality is scripted. To really level up, this is a tip I'll give you: break the algorithm. Shout out to my brother Jay. 2 years ago, this brother is a mortgage broker, tapped in, awake, everything. 2 years ago, he said, I just wanted to do something different, something that was totally against my personality, so I started to hike. And that's breaking your programming. Whatever it is you're doing, do something uncomfortable. Maybe it's a physical exercise. Maybe it's some sort of a fitness. Maybe read religious texts. Do something totally against your program, preferably not that's low vibe. I don't want you to, don't go off on a bender and say, Book of Jonah told me it's time to go party. It's time to get lit because I've been a goody two-shoes my whole life. But if you do party, hit me up. No, not to disregard that last statement. I want that off the record. Anyways, you get my point. Break your cycle, break your algorithm, break your programming, do something different. Try to actively meditate, try to actively walk, do something that just push yourself to do something that just goes against, like, that's not Jonah, Do something different. That's a really good tip. And I guess that's a good point to end it on this day. I know I kind of hit a variety of topics. We went off on a tangent today, but hey man, we're still here. We're still fighting the good fight. It's been a wild 2 weeks. I'll say really quick about Tame Impala. I went to that concert. I know concerts maybe when you're awake could be low vibe, but hardly anybody was drinking in there. Let me bring that up first. Tame Impala has gotten me through a really difficult time, especially 10 years ago, even before I was awakening and I was in a depression. And the music just spoke to me, like the frequency. But this particular concert was almost like a breaking up. Like, it was like all these songs, I can remember sleeping in the car. I'll give you an example. Like, Will Harris picked me up from my apartment in Seabrook, Texas. And every morning we listen to Breathe Deeper, the Little Yachty version, and Tame. And every morning it was like, let's do this and get through this and come find me when you're done, was always like, so we can be as one was a lyric that always sat with me. And then one of the lyrics was, if you think I couldn't hold my own, believe me, I can. Like, a lot of people counted y'all out. A lot of people wrote you off for dead in some form or fashion. Whatever that is, it could have been your career.